Welcome to the Biomedical Podcast, the podcast that connects groundbreaking research with real-world answers. I'm Dr. Bensada, and in every episode, we examine new published articles to take a close look at the discoveries that are changing how we see science. We aim to fire up your interest and start a talk that goes beyond the lab.
Imagine an AI that could look at your heart scan, maybe predict problems years before they even happen, sometimes even, better than current methods.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Today on the Biomedical Podcast, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, artificial intelligence in cardiology. It's a really fascinating area.
It really is.
We've gathered quite a bit of research, some big review articles, recent study results, all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission today is pretty simple. Pull out the key insights, the really important stuff about AI and heart health, but, keep it accessible, no getting bogged down in overly technical jargon.
Absolutely. And the core aim here, the real driving force behind putting AI into cardiology, it's fundamentally about improving things for patients.
Right.
We're talking about giving doctors more powerful tools, helping them make smarter decisions, maybe catch problems earlier, diagnose more accurately, and really tailor treatments to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Better outcomes, healthier lives.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. This isn't like science fiction robots taking over the clinic.
No.
It's more like giving our doctors and nurses a kind of superpowered assistant.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. As Oloid and colleagues pointed out in their 2024 review, the real potential is in augmenting the skills of healthcare professionals.
Augmenting.
Think of it as streamlining workflows, helping catch subtle things that might be missed, maybe reducing diagnostic errors, and even enabling proactive steps, predicting issues before they get serious. It leads to more effective, more personalized care.
That makes sense.
And what's really striking is just how fast these AI technologies are evolving and being adopted in cardiology. The advancements are happening across, multiple domains.
And it's not just the AI getting smarter, right? The tech we use to actually see the heart is improving too.
Absolutely. That's a crucial piece. Oloid and colleagues also touch on this in their 2025 work. Think about cardiac imaging, echocardiograms, cardiac MRI, CT scans. These technologies are giving clinicians incredibly detailed views of the heart, more clarity and precision than ever before.
And that detailed visual data is like fuel for the AI.
Exactly. AI thrives on that kind of rich information.
Okay, this is where it gets really cool, I think. Let's talk about how AI helps doctors maybe see the unseen, finding clues in those images that might be too subtle for the human eye.
Yeah, this is a major area. These AI algorithms can analyze the different types of diagnostic images, the echoes, the MRIs with really heightened accuracy. This really aids in early detection, characterizing heart problems better. Oloid et al. Discussed this back in their 2024 paper.
Okay, so can you give us some concrete examples? Like, how's it being used with, say, an echocardiogram, the heart ultrasound?
Right, so echo is a big one. We're seeing some really promising results there. For instance, Oloid and colleagues mentioned a study in 2025 looking at aortic stenosis.
Okay, narrowing of a heart valve.
Exactly. And they found that combining AI analysis with the standard echo measurements actually improved how doctors could classify how severe the stenosis was. And, importantly, identify the patients who were at higher risk. That could really help decide the best timing for, say, valve replacement surgery.
That sounds incredibly useful.
And there's more. They also referenced another study where deep learning algorithms got really good, achieving an AUC over 0.88 at classifying different echo views automatically.
AUC? What's that again?
Oh, right. AUC is area under the curve. It's a measure of how well a test or model can distinguish between, say, healthy and diseased groups. 1.0 is perfect, 0.5 is random guessing, so over 0.88 is quite strong.
Got it. So good at telling views apart and detecting valve problems.
Yes, detecting valvular heart diseases with high accuracy, and potentially even differentiating between conditions like acute myocardial infarction and Takotsubo syndrome, which can sometimes look similar.
Wow, okay. And wasn't there a specific algorithm mentioned that was pretty accurate?
Yeah, you're probably thinking of the work by Madani et al. Perron and colleagues mentioned it in their 2023 review. Their algorithm hit 97.8% accuracy classifying echo images.
Almost perfect.
Pretty impressive, right? And looking forward, the Future Horizons paper from 2024 talked about an AI model by K et al. that actually got regulatory approval, FDA and CE mark in Europe.
Oh, really? For what?
For automatically selecting the best ultrasound video clips and calculating the LVEF.
Left ventricular ejection fraction, the heart's pumping strength.
That's the one, a key measure. Automating that could really speed things up in the clinic and make the measurements more consistent.
Definitely see the benefit there. Okay, let's shift to cardiac MRI, those really detailed magnetic scans. How's AI helping there?
With cardiac MRI, or CMR, AI is contributing in a few key ways. All discussed this in 2025. One big area is improving image quality itself.
Sharper pictures.
Sharper pictures, less noise. This can help spot subtle conditions, things a human might miss. It can also sometimes help reduce the actual scan time, which is great for patients.
Less time in the tube is always good.
Absolutely. And they also mentioned AI's role in sort of refining how the images are generated in the first place, leading to clearer, more detailed views of the heart's structure and function.
Was there a specific condition where this was applied? I remember reading something about hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yes. The authors of Machine Learning Evaluation, study from 2022, they used AI on CMR images specifically to look at left ventricular outflow tract obstruction in patients with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Obstruction where blood leaves the heart.
Exactly. And they found a strong correlation between specific measurement AI could make the distance between the tip of the anterior mitral valve leaflet and the septum, the heart wall, and whether that obstruction was present.
So AI helps quantify these tricky anatomical relationships.
Precisely. Things that might be hard to measure consistently by eye.
Okay. And the third imaging type, coronary CT angiography, CCTA, the scans of the heart arteries.
Right. Reddy and colleagues in their 2024 review highlighted how AI is driving advances in tools for CCTA, things like semi-automatic data acquisition and, importantly, post-processing the images.
Making it easier to get and read the scans?
Essentially, yes. And they discussed a really interesting study using deep learning. It didn't just look at how narrow an artery was. It looked at patterns of how the heart muscle enhanced with contrast dye. These patterns could indicate if a narrowing was actually hemodynamically significant, meaning if it was truly restricting blood flow enough to cause a problem.
So it's not just seeing a blockage, but understanding if that blockage is actually causing trouble downstream in the heart muscle.
Exactly. That's a critical distinction for deciding on treatments like stents or bypass surgery. It's a step beyond just anatomy.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so AI is clearly powerful in diagnosis and seeing things better. Let's shift gears now. How is it moving beyond just diagnosis into, say, personalizing treatments or predicting future risk?
This is where it gets really exciting, moving toward truly personalized medicine. Olawade and colleagues explained this well in 2024. AI can integrate just massive amounts of diverse patient data.
Like what kind of data?
Things like your genetic profile, lifestyle factors, diet, exercise, smoking, plus all that detailed imaging data we just talked about.
Wow, okay.
And by analyzing all that together, AI can help doctors develop treatment plans that are much more specifically tailored to you, the individual patient.
And you mentioned predicting risk, like a crystal ball for heart problems.
Well, maybe not a crystal ball, but certainly a more sophisticated forecasting tool. AI-powered risk models can take all that patient-specific data and predict the likelihood of developing coronary artery disease or having a heart attack or other adverse events.
Okay.
Olawade et al. Mention entities like Verily and Duke University doing really advanced work here. They also pointed to Siemens Healthineers, who have AI models looking at various patient factors to try and anticipate heart failure flare-ups.
Like an early warning system for someone with heart failure, that could be huge.
Potentially, yes. Proactive interventions.
And I think I read something about AI helping choose medications too, especially for things like irregular heartbeats.
That's right. Atrial fibrillation is a key example. Olawade et al. Noted companies like Myogenes and Corvidia Therapeutics. They're using AI algorithms to look at genetic data to predict how an individual patient with AFib might respond to specific antiarrhythmic drugs. So you get more targeted prescribing, hopefully finding the right drug faster.
That's really moving towards precision medicine. And didn't we see some studies comparing these AI risk calculators to the standard ones doctors use now?
I did. There was a notable study by Yahagi et al. Back in 2018 using data from the MESA study. They compared a machine learning risk calculator against the standard ACHA risk calculator.
What did they find?
Quite interesting results. The machine learning model actually recommended less overall drug therapy. But it missed fewer major cardiovascular events. And its predictive accuracy, measured by that AUC score again, was significantly higher, 0.92 versus 0.71 for the standard calculator.
Wow, 0.92 is really high. So potentially fewer people on meds unnecessarily, but better at catching those truly at risk.
That was the implication of that particular study, yes. A potential win-win.
And these risk models, they're not just based on one point in time, are they? Can they adapt?
Good question. Yes, they're becoming more dynamic. Kim and colleagues published work in 2023 on developing machine learning models that incorporate longitudinal data.
Meaning data over time.
Exactly. Information from follow-up visits after someone's had a heart attack, for instance. By looking at how things change, these models could provide more accurate predictions of future problems, especially, they noted, in Asian patient populations.
So the picture of risk evolves as the patient's condition evolves. That makes an intuitive sense. Okay, so AI isn't just stuck in the hospital or the lab. It's starting to reach into our daily lives through things like wearables and remote monitoring, right?
That's a really significant trend, definitely. As Allway et al. Highlighted in 2024, you've got this convergence of AI with remote monitoring tech. Think smartwatches, continuous glucose monitors, blood pressure cuffs at home.
Yeah, lots of people have those now.
Right. And this allows cardiac care to extend beyond the clinic walls. It enables continuous or near continuous real-time monitoring of vital signs and other health metrics.
Just think about that for someone managing, say, chronic heart failure. Having that constant stream of data.
It's potentially transformative. For chronic conditions like heart failure or arrhythmias, this continuous monitoring holds the promise of detecting anomalies much earlier, which allows for more timely interventions and really personalized day-to-day management strategies. Allway et al. Mentioned specific examples like Cardiogram, which uses AI with heart rate data from wearables, or Omron Healthcare's Heart Guide wrist blood pressure monitor.
Right.
These tools use AI to interpret that continuous data and can offer personalized feedback or recommendations, for instance, for managing hypertension.
So it's not just collecting data, it's analyzing it and giving feedback.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just heart rate and blood pressure. They mentioned platforms like Biomedical Vision using AI to analyze imaging data alongside metabolic profiles.
Metabolic profiles like blood sugar, cholesterol.
Stuff like that, yeah. To get an earlier handle on broader cardiometabolic risk factors, the interplay between heart health and metabolism.
Okay.
And the broader point, as they emphasized, is that this whole trend towards remote monitoring and wearables really fosters a more patient-centered approach.
How so?
Well, it increases patient engagement. You're seeing your own data. You're involved. It empowers people to take a more active role in managing their own health.
Makes sense. More information, more control. But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? There must be challenges, ethical concerns with using AI so extensively in healthcare.
Oh, absolutely. That's a critical part of the conversation. There are significant hurdles, Ready et al. Discuss some of the legal and ethical aspects in their 2024 review. Well, there's a need for clear regulatory guidance. How do we approve and oversee these medical-grade AI applications? Authorities like the FDA in the U.S. and the EMA in Europe are actively working on this, but it's complex.
Regulation needs to catch up with the tech.
It often does. Then there's the issue of transparency or the black box problem. How does the AI actually reach its decision?
Right. If an AI recommends a certain treatment, the doctor needs to understand why.
Exactly, especially in high-stakes situations.
Yeah.
So there's a big push towards developing explainable AI or XAI models, as Allway et al. Mentioned in 2025. We need to be able to peek inside the box.
Okay, explainability. What else?
A huge ethical concern is bias in the data used to train these AI systems.
Bias? How?
Well, if the training data isn't representative of the whole population, if it mostly includes data from certain demographic groups, for example, the AI might not perform as well for underrepresented groups.
So it could actually worsen existing health disparities.
That's a major worry. Allway et al. Stressed this in 2025, the need for inclusive, diverse data sets. Armaldis and colleagues also emphasized in 2024 that we must include underrepresented populations when building these models.
That seems crucial for fairness.
Absolutely critical. And tied to data are, of course, concerns about data security and patient privacy. We're dealing with incredibly sensitive health information. Ahmed et al. Highlighted this in 2024. Robust safeguards are essential.
Right. Protecting the data. And just practically speaking, getting this tech into hospitals, is it easy? Is it cheap?
No, not necessarily. Ahmed et al. also pointed out these substantial hurdles of cost and implementation. There's the initial investment in the AI systems, the ongoing maintenance, training staff, and the complexity of integrating these new tools smoothly into existing hospital workflows and IT systems.
So lots of practical challenges beyond just the science.
Definitely. It's not just plug and play.
Okay, so looking ahead then, despite the challenges, where is this field heading? What's the future landscape look like?
Well, the push continues for AI models that can do even better at integrating multimodal data.
Multimodal, meaning?
Meaning combining different types of data, genetic imaging, clinical notes, wearable data, lab results, all together for truly holistic, personalized insights into heart health.
I'll await it all. Mention this as a key area for future development in 2025.
Pulling all the threads together.
Exactly. And achieving the full potential here really requires a collaborative effort. It's not just AI researchers. It needs healthcare professionals, data scientists, engineers, ethicists, patients, policymakers, everyone working together.
Sure.
I'll await it all. Also emphasize this collaborative need.
Makes sense. It touches so many areas. Is there a way to make implementation easier? Maybe start smaller.
That's a good point. Bonomi and colleagues suggested in 2023 that maybe classifying AI tools by their complexity could help. Simpler, more focused AI products, maybe ones that just help improve image quality or perform specific measurements, might be easier to integrate first.
Like stepping stones. Kind of. Build confidence, work out the kinks, then move to more complex decision support AIs. They also stress the importance of rigorously comparing AI results against traditional methods and standard care, looking at cost effectiveness and actual clinical efficacy.
So, proving it actually works better in the real world, not just in the lab.
Precisely. We need that real-world evidence.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If we boil it down, what are the key takeaways for our listeners from this deep dive?
I'd say first, AI is genuinely transforming cardiology across the board, from spotting problems on images much earlier and more accurately.
Right, enhancing diagnosis.
To creating personalized treatment plans and predicting future risk based on a huge amount of individual data.
Personalizing treatment and prediction.
And extending care beyond the clinic through wearables and remote monitoring, engaging patients more.
Enabling remote care. Got it.
But, and this is crucial, while the promise is immense, the actual clinical impact is still evolving day by day. As Bonomi et al. Noted in 2023, it's not quite prime time everywhere yet.
Still early days in some ways.
And those challenges we discussed, regulation, ethics, data bias, privacy, cost, implementation, they absolutely need to be addressed carefully and thoughtfully.
So cautious optimism, maybe, with a lot of work still to do.
Yeah, it sounds about right. And that collaboration piece, as Holloway et al. Underscored, between the tech developers, the clinicians, the regulators, the patients, that's absolutely key to making sure AI is integrated responsibly and effectively into heart care.
And it's popping up everywhere, isn't it? You mentioned predicting MSE, major adverse cardiovascular events earlier.
Yeah, that's another big research area. Lots of studies looking at different machine learning models for predicting MSE, like work by Wang et al. In 2022, et al. In 2023, and others going back even further. And even something as fundamental as assessing the quality of an ECG signal, is this a good reading? Ren et al. Looked at using AI for that in 2023. So it spans a huge range of applications.
It really is a dynamic field. The pace of change is just incredible.
It truly is.
So maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with. As AI keeps learning, keeps evolving, how might it fundamentally change not just how we treat heart disease, but how we even understand the human heart? Could it really shift us towards a future of truly predictive, maybe even preventative cardiac care?
That's the big question, isn't it? The ultimate potential.
Definitely something to think about. We really encourage you, if this sparked your interest, delve deeper into the sources we mentioned, explore related research. This deep dive is really just scratching the surface of this incredibly fast-moving field.
A fascinating journey ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Biomedical Podcast. We hope you'll tune in next time for another exploration of the biomedical world.